Most people are playing a game they don't realize they're already losing. Not because they're lazy, not because they're not smart enough, but because they're optimizing for the wrong thing. They're adding skills, collecting certificates, stacking platforms, believing that more knowledge equals more security. But here's what the data actually says. 39% of the core skills required in today's jobs will be disrupted by 2030. That's not a distant threat. That's 4 years away. And it means nearly 4 in 10 things that make you valuable right now won't be enough to keep you there. The question is not how to learn more. The question is how to build something that doesn't expire. Here's what's driving this. AI, automation, demographic shifts, and the green transition are reshaping the labor market faster than most people can adapt to it. The world's leading employers have spoken. Their conclusion is sobering. By 2030, 92 million jobs will be displaced, while 170 million new ones will be created, a net gain of 78 million roles. But that number only tells half the story. Of every 100 workers, 59 are projected to need reskilling or upskilling by 2030, and 11 of them are unlikely to receive it. That translates to over 120 million workers at medium-term risk of redundancy. And it's not just low-skilled jobs at risk. In advanced economies, around 60% of jobs are now exposed to AI. Roughly half of those could benefit from AI integration, but for the other half, AI may begin executing key tasks currently performed by humans, reducing demand, lowering wages, and in some cases, eliminating roles entirely. The people who thrive in this environment won't be the ones who knew the most at any given moment. They'll be the ones who could move, who could take what they learned in one place and apply it somewhere new. That ability is called transferable intelligence. It's not about being a generalist. It's not about knowing a little about everything and excelling at nothing. It's about training your mind to recognize patterns, extract principles, and deploy them across contexts. It's about learning in a way that compounds, where every domain you explore makes every other domain richer. Think about the people history remembers as truly adaptable. Da Vinci moved between anatomy, engineering, and art not because he couldn't commit, but because each field fed the others. Feynman didn't just study physics, he rebuilt it constantly through stories, diagrams, and analogies. He tested his own understanding by translating it into new forms. Franklin operated as a printer, scientist, diplomat, and statesman, not despite having a unified way of thinking, but because of it. The data confirms this pattern. Analytical thinking is considered essential by 7 out of 10 employers today. Resilience, flexibility, and agility, along with curiosity and lifelong learning, now rank among the fastest-growing skills in demand, and they're growing faster than any purely technical competency. These are cognitive skills. They transfer. They have no expiry date. So how do you build this deliberately? 4 ways. 1. Learn how to learn. The foundation of transferable intelligence is meta-learning, studying not just the content but the process. Elite learners don't just absorb information, they interrogate it. How does this concept work at its core? Where does this pattern appear elsewhere? What does this reveal about how systems behave? This habit turns isolated knowledge into portable insight. Your practice? Spend 20 minutes a day learning something outside your main field. Then ask one question: how does this change the way I think inside my area? 2. Build mental models, not fact libraries. Facts expire. Mental models don't. Physics gives you cause and effect. Biology gives you adaptation. Economics gives you incentives. Psychology gives you cognitive bias. When your brain collects frameworks instead of information, it becomes flexible under pressure. Charlie Munger called it a latticework of mental models. The point isn't to have all the answers, it's to have enough lenses that you can find a foothold in any new problem, even one you've never seen before. Weekly habit? Learn one core idea from a different field and consciously connect it to something you already know. 3. Practice adaptive problem solving. Transferable intelligence only grows when tested. That means solving problems without templates. It means explaining what you know to someone outside your field, which forces compression, clarity, and real understanding. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. That's Feynman's test. It applies to everything. Resilience, flexibility, and agility are now the most significant differentiators between workers in growing roles versus declining ones, outranking both technical skill importance and technical skill proficiency. Cognitive flexibility is also what current AI systems struggle to replicate. The more you stretch yours, the harder you are to replace. 4. Iterate, don't just accumulate. Most people treat their learning like a library, keep adding books. The people who win treat it like a lab, run experiments, observe what breaks, adjust, and go again. Mistakes aren't failures in this model, they're the most valuable data you produce. While a large share of organizations expect to reduce headcount in roles exposed to AI-driven obsolescence, an even larger share plan to hire people with new skills, and the majority are already offering upskilling programs. The gap between those two numbers is the opportunity. The people who close it fastest are the ones who iterate rather than wait. Here is what the data and history agree on. The threat is real, the displacement is real, but so is the opportunity for the people willing to evolve. The skills gap is now cited by the majority of employers as the single biggest barrier to transformation in their business. That's not a warning for workers alone. It's a signal that the people who can think across domains, adapt quickly, and transfer insight are scarce. And scarce in any market means valuable. AI can process information faster than you ever will. It will outperform specialists in every narrow domain it enters, but it struggles with the thing that transferable intelligence does naturally, pulling a principle from one context and seeing its reflection in another, making the unexpected connection. That's yours to keep. The future-proof skill isn't a tool, it's not a platform, it's not a trend. It's the ability to learn deeply, transfer insight, and adapt continuously. So start today, not with a new course, with a new question. Is the way I'm learning building something permanent, or am I just filling a library that the next wave of change will empty again?